Hey there, Scripture fans. Welcome back to the Bible Difficulties and Answers podcast. I'm your host, Lance Smith, your guide through the wild world of Bible brain teasers. And this is episode 173 of our Tuesday Contradictions series. Today, we're tackling a zinger from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible. When was the woman who touched Jesus' robe cured? Was it an instantaneous miracle? Or did the healing take its sweet time? This tale, tucked into Matthew 9:20-22, Mark 5:25-29, and Luke 8:43-45, dares us to scrutinize and reflect. Did the gospel writers throw us a curveball, or are they high-fiving over a unified truth? Join me as we step into this dusty drama, dig into its historical roots, and marvel at the faith that fueled it. Let's proceed with clarity, curiosity, and maybe a chuckle or two. Picture the scene, a dusty street buzzing with a crowd. And there's this woman, worn out after 12 years of a hemorrhage, ritually unclean under Levitical law, that's Leviticus 15:25-27, broke from failed doctor visits and basically the social pariah of the block. But then, plot twist, she hears Jesus is the miracle worker next door. In a daring act of faith, she sneaks up to touch the fringe of his robe. What pushed her to that? Desperation? Hope? Or maybe she just thought, worst case, I'll get a timeout. Best case, I'm healed. Let's unravel the timing with the New Living Translation. In Mark 5:25-29, the plot thickens with this. A woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She had heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his robe. For she thought to herself, if I can just touch his robe, I will be healed. Immediately, the bleeding stopped, and she could feel in her body that she had been healed of her terrible condition. Jesus realized at once that healing power had gone out from him, so he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my robe?" Okay, that immediately lands like a thunderclap. Her healing was faster than my attempt to explain Leviticus at a gathering. She knew it, felt it, while Jesus played detective, scratching his head mid-miracle. Let's look at Luke 8:43-45, and it keeps the suspense rolling. A woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She had spent everything she had on doctors, but she had not been helped at all. She came up behind Jesus and touched the fringe of his robe. Immediately, the bleeding stopped. "Who touched me?" Jesus asked. Everyone denied it. And Peter said, "Master, this whole crowd is pressing up against you." But Jesus said, "Someone deliberately touched me, for I felt healing power go out from me." Okay, another immediately. This cure was quicker than a kid dodging chores. Jesus' post-event, "Who did that?" adds a hilarious whodunit twist. Who's this sneaky healer in the crowd? Now, Matthew 9:20-22 cuts to the chase with this. Just then, a woman who had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding came up behind him. She touched the fringe of his robe, for she thought, if I can just touch his robe, I will be healed. Jesus turned around, and when he saw her, he said, "Daughter, be encouraged. Your faith has made you well." And the woman was healed at that moment. Okay, at that moment syncs with the other's speed. Now, the confusion here comes from older translations like the King James Version, which uses "from that hour," which might make you think she waited for tea time. But the New Living Translation sets the record straight. Instant healing wins the race across all accounts. The skeptic's challenge leans on that hour hiccup in the King James Version, hinting at a contradiction. But a quick peek at the New Living Translation blows the fog away. All three Gospels agree. Healing hit the second she touched Jesus' robe, before he even noticed her. The sequence, contact, cure, then Christ's "who's the culprit?" is locked in by Jesus feeling the power zap out afterward. Verdict: cured instantly upon touching that robe, before he knew who the VIP was. Case closed, skeptics, though the fun's just warming up. Now, let's decode that robe riddle. The fringe she grabbed was the tzitzit, a tassel on a prayer shawl mandated by Numbers 15, 38-39 as a holiness badge. For an unclean woman, this was like crashing a VIP holiness party, uninvited. Yet, the host rolls out the red carpet. Purity laws said her touch should spread impurity like a bad rumor. But nope, she pulled healing instead, proving Jesus was the real power source, not some fancy thread. One might quip her faith turned a forbidden grab into a divine high five, rewriting the rulebook with a grin. It's like plugging into a divine power strip. Her faith flipped the switch, and the healing flowed before Jesus could say, "Manual? What manual?" This takes us on a quirky detour to Second Temple literature, Wisdom of Solomon 18:20-25. I usually dodge apocryphal texts like they're last week's leftovers, sticking to canonical scripture, but Joshua Michael Watford's article drags this one into the spotlight. In Wisdom of Solomon, Aaron's priestly garments fended off the destroyer during Passover. With this, the righteous man even protected the nation from the destroyer, for upon his long robe was the whole world, and ancestral inscriptions were carved on the 4 rows of stones, and thy providence guarded him. Those robes had atoning vibes, mirroring her mark moment where a touch brings instant relief. Watford says her faith saw Jesus as the ultimate great high priest, outshining Aaron's threads with a holiness that heals, turning her oops into a triumph. This non-canonical nugget, while a side dish, spices up her cultural backdrop. The Second Temple period, and that's 586 BC to AD 135, shaped her world. A mix of militant vibes in 1 and 2 Maccabees and faithful grit in Daniel and Susanna. Her quiet resolve fits the latter, a faith honed by tradition. Now, this vibes with Hebrews 4:14-16, painting Christ as our empathetic high priest. The Keystone Victoria blog cheers her own, noting her crowd-crashing faith was sparked by Jesus' miracles, a hope that cuts through barriers like a beacon in a fog bank. The theology here is deep and fun. Her healing's a double whammy: physical relief from the hemorrhage and a spiritual boost with Jesus's "your faith has made you well." The Greek sozo blends healing and salvation. Talk about a 2-for-1 deal. Her 12-year slog, poverty, isolation, and challenges systemic injustice, as Tim Ryando's Bethel Seminary take frames her touch as a rebel yell against exclusion, echoing for today's outcasts. Kelly Wool's Harvard Dash spin adds flavor, seeing her long suffering as a VIP pass to a divine meet and greet, not a roadblock. Her raw struggle, often sermon sanitized, let's be honest, meets Jesus' compassion, turning her touch into a dignity reboot. BibleRef.com on Mark 5:28 backs this, saying her faith trusted Jesus' power, not some magic fabric, keeping the spotlight on him. The Keystone Victoria nod likens her courage to a spark lighting up despair, a call for us to grab our own miracles. In conclusion, the Gospels team up on instant healing, shutting down any contradiction chatter. Her faith, channeled through that robe touch, tapped Jesus' priestly power, flavored by her culture. This miracle's no dusty relic. It's a live wire of Christ's redemption for the outcast. For you listening, it asks, where's your faith daring you to reach out today? That same power is still on tap. Before we wrap, ponder this. Where's your fringe moment this week? Drop us your story. Thanks for tuning in. Share thoughts at BibleDifficultiesAndAnswers@gmail.com. Hit our website at BibleDifficultiesAndAnswers.podbean.com or join our Facebook group. Next Tuesday, we're wrestling another alleged Bible contradiction from Matthew, so don't miss it. I'm Lance Smith, wishing you good luck, good health, and God bless. So long, everybody.